Okay, this is a video explaining how to do your payroll project. So if you see that I'm logged into my See Now too, so I just went into Study Tools and then go to the ebook, which hopefully you've all been, accessing the ebook. So it's chapter 7. So if we go to chapter 7, that is your payroll project. So you're going to want to read through this entire chapter. It explains, gives you some information to start with, explains the payroll register, explains the employee's earning record, because both of these things, the payroll register as well as the employee's earning record, will be all maintained in Excel. And then they're giving you this general information about this Globrite company. Here's their address, which is what you're going to put on all of your tax forms, their federal identification number, their state account information number, and their city, because you'll need all those when you're filling out your forms. They give you some information about their regular hours of work, how they get paid overtime, and then the record keeping. So that's another thing that you'll be inputting their hours into the payroll register. They get paid every other Friday, so bi-weekly. And then they're going to be their payroll withholdings. Again, they'll be subject to federal income tax, like all employees are. It is in the state of Pennsylvania, so state, and then city, and then there is the SUDA, which is a little bit different, but this payroll project has where the employees pay a little piece of the state unemployment taxes. In Ohio, we don't do that. The employers pay it all, but maybe PA has that, so we'll go ahead and use it. They will deposit their taxes based on these rules, and you'll make those recordings in the general ledger. They have group insurance, and you may need to come back to this. I'm trying to think, there may be like a new employee that starts and that you need to calculate it. Or maybe a new employee who adds on to it. So just make sure you come back to this where it shows you it's 30 cents per $1,000 of their income or their salary. Okay, and then they also have union dues. Some of them have union dues, which is $8 a pay that are coming out. Then it shows you how their salaries are broken out, because again, you'll need this when you do your journal entries. So these individuals will go to office salaries, these individuals will go to sales, and these individuals go to plant. So then here is where it starts. So on this page, you can see it says start of the payroll project, and it starts and gives you information. So you're going to go kind of page by page and item by item and read those out, and it shows you their time records, and then you're going to record those. Then it gives you the next date. Okay, now these payroll taxes are paid, and again, you're going to make a entry to record those. So this whole chapter, as you go through date by date, it's telling you what to do, and then you're going to take all of those dates and you're going to put them on your Excel worksheet. So your Excel worksheet, if I come back to Blackboard, in Unit 4, here is the Excel sheet. Okay, and then here you can use this discussion, like if you want to talk to each other in here, feel free to do that. But then this is going to be the Excel sheet that you're gonna actually use to complete your case. So as you open it up, there's formulas and stuff in there. So you don't want to mess around with it too much. Be it, so here gives you some instructions, and it tells you that there are some formulas in there. Here's your journal, and they give you the first one as an example. So we've got October 9th's payroll, the recording of the payroll itself, the charging off of each individual's salaries to their specific departments, the withholdings of the taxes, the FICA, Social Security, Medicare, federal income tax, state unemployment, city income tax, and the union dues. And then this is the employer's piece. So this first section here, this is what was withheld out of the employee's pay. This is what the employer is going to be responsible for paying, and you can see that debits payroll taxes. So then you'll have again they'll give you lots of pages. So you're going to have journal entries for each date that is in that case. And again, use this as your example. But you can go ahead. I'm going to be honest. I'm not real picky about what you put in this post reference. So you don't have to really worry about that as much as I'm going to be looking at what your accounts, what you're debiting, and what you're crediting, and what your date is. So if you don't want to worry about that post reference, I'm fine with that. Okay, then you come over and then you summarize it into your general journal. So as you look through the general journal, here's the account and then here's the account number. So then as you page through this, each account, you know what I mean? Then we come down to payroll cash, account number. Then we come down to FICA payable, the account number. Oh, that's what that's coming in from. Sorry, that's what these are. I think are your account numbers. So yeah, maybe you do want that. So I apologize because it does help you tie it out over here. But I'm probably not going to really grade that. If it helps you use that, that's fine. If you can just go by the names, that's fine too. But then you're going to take each one of these journal entries that you do and trace them over into the general ledger so that at the end of the day, you're going to have your total balances there. And then there's these different checkpoints. And then the checkpoints are going to tie out to items that are in the textbook. The textbook gives you different checkpoint numbers so that we can see that we're all kind of on the same path. Then if I move to the next tab, we have the payroll register. And then here we have, if we go back to the top, they show you one already completed. So October 9th is filled in for you. You're going to have to start here on October 23rd. And again, you can see they fill in the hours. They give the marital status and the number of withholdings. And for the most part, those will probably stay the same. But again, read through the case because I think there is somebody who gets married or has a child or gets divorced or something changes and they change those statuses. So you'll have to make sure you change those. So if I go down to the blank one though, so obviously these are all blank and these are all things you're filling in. And then these, again, there are formulas here, but some of them, if they're just on salary, their salary totals are just input. So you could copy these down, if you want to, like the rate per hour. And then these, if you look up here, see it's the formula of your hours times your rate. You could copy those all cells down into your blank ones. Then we have overtime, and in this particular pay period, there is no overtime, but again, we'll have some that do have overtime, and you'll fill in those columns. And then your total earnings. Now, if we look at these cells, though, here we do have formulas. So you don't want to mess with those. Let those go ahead and calculate for you. And then if we come over to this, our Social Security, this also has formulas and it's going to calculate for you. There's only one employee who's going to end up over the limit. I believe only one. I think it's that Bono is the president, or is it? Yeah, no, it's O'Neill. It's O'Neill. O'Neill will end up over the limit. But I guess double check that to make sure that he's the only one that's sticking in my mind. But it's possible there could be another one. So then you're going to have to watch as you get down to the last pays and see if he crosses over that 132,900 for the Social Security. But again, those are all formulas. Your Medicare column is all formulas, and that is Medicare has no limits, so that's fine. Now this column here, this FIT is your federal income tax. You are going to have to go to the 2019 tax tables provided in the textbook and calculate the federal income tax. Here again, they show you the first pay, so you could use that as an example, but you're going to have to calculate all the rest. The state is a set percentage, so those are also formulas. SUDA is, again, this is what's coming out of the employee's account, which is a little bit different than the state of Ohio, but that's all a formula as well. And then the same with the city income tax. The CIT stands for the city income tax, and those are all formulas. So really the thing that you have to do is make sure that you fill in your federal income tax, and that you have accounted for all the hours and the overtime. And then if there's any of these deductions, if there's group insurance, union dues, or the simple, which is a pension contribution, which I believe will be at the end of the year, make sure you account for all those. The rest of the stuff is pretty formula driven. So again, you have to be careful. Just take your time, make sure you don't go over top those things. Then when we come over to the employee records, then you will, once you have all your payroll register filled out, then you'll transfer those values over employee by employee into these, the employee register. And the employee's earnings record is by person. And then the nice thing is it has their year-to-date number, and then the current payroll that you're going to work on. So then you'll have your quarter total and you'll have your year total. And you'll use these records to build their W-2s. So then that is, if I go back to our project, let me go back to the main page there. Again, and here's those audit tests. So I told you there's different ones that are double check your numbers. So use those to double check. They came right from the textbook. So you'll be completing that Excel spreadsheet and then you'll submit that because this is really the basis of it. So that's going to be due earlier. I think I give you 2 weeks to do that, the first 2 weeks of that section. Then you're going to do the W-2 for each employee. Only 1 copy is needed. When you open up the W-2 template that I provide, it gives you all copies, like 4 copies, like a state, a federal, an employee, an employer. You only have to do 1. I just want to know that you know how to fill out a W-2 for each employee. The W-3 is the summary of all of the W-2s. So I would do all the W-2s, then add those up to create your W-3, and then compare that to your Excel spreadsheet to make sure that you're tying out. And then there's going to be a lady who dies, and her final paycheck will not be on the W-2. It'll be like a check to the estate, and you'll have to do a 1099 miscellaneous, and then the 1096 is the summary of that 1099 miscellaneous. So make sure you find that section in the chapter so you know what you're doing for those. And then all of those will be due like the week before finals. Then we'll have our last bit, our quarterly 941, our annual 940, the state unemployment, the detail by employee that ties into that summary, and then the state income tax withholding. And then you'll submit all of those there. Now, if you open these, you'll see I have PDF forms. These ones are fill-inable, if that makes sense. So, I mean, you can they're fillable PDFs, so you can fill them in and then save them. If you struggle with the saving, you can do a print and print it out as a PDF, and then you'll know for sure that everything saves. Because every once in a while, I'll have those fillable PDFs that I fill them in, but then when I save them, they save blank. So if that ever happens, print it out and then print it as a PDF. Now, these are ones I personally don't have the capabilities to. These ones are not fillable for me, the W-2s and the W-3s. So what I did is I just printed them out and I wrote on them. I do have students, though, who are able to fill them in, so there must be a way. Unfortunately, I don't know how to do that, so I'm going to just do them in writing. I'm really just testing you that you know what those values are. So if you can find a way to do them and fill them in, that's great. If not, print them out in paper. And then I have a whole sample project here. I didn't do completely everything, but I have 3 employees. So I set up the Excel document for my 3 employees all the way through for the 4th quarter. Then I've completed my 941 and my 940. I did my W-3 form and a W-2 form for each employee, but I didn't get into the state and the unemployment ones. So use this as an example, kind of as you're doing your first stuff. If you have any questions on those state and local ones, just put it in that discussion forum, and then I could help you out there. But I think that you should be able to do those without seeing an example. These ones, I think, like especially the W-3s and the W-2s, it's nice to see those worked out in that sample form. Okay. So then that is it. Again, good luck.